right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We have a great show tonight, and we have a guest, um, Nathaniel H. And
Nathaniel,
welcome.
with pleasure. Thank you.
I'm so glad you can make it. And yeah, everyone's here, and it looks like we're coming in loud and clear, and that's making us all happy. Good connection and everything, no problems. So yeah,
We're happy to
okay.
have you.
Cool.
Yes,
Well,
glad you're here.
a lot to talk about, I suppose, right? Like, it's a topic that's a deep, deep rabbit hole. And I'm assuming your listeners are likely either affected themselves or friends or have family members who themselves are affected and are trying to understand what they're going through. So, um,
Right.
I guess everybody who shares their experience, I guess, in turn can learn from it, right? Like, you can kind of, I guess, I
Oh
can
yeah.
empathize with, with what a lot of you guys are going through. It's been really weird. I think we can all agree. So, um,
It's strangeness, all right.
curious and
Yeah.
curiouser for sure.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's me.
So we just lost Teresa again. I just want to let everyone know that Teresa's at the end of her
Ah,
data
she
month.
loves. Oh, Teresa.
Yeah, so I think it's because she's short on data that she keeps dropping out.
Okay.
So she'll be
All right.
back.
Well, we can go ahead with the questions, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I've got some
Yeah,
interview questions for you.
this sounds
Um,
wonderful. Okay.
Good. All right, let's go. Then the first question is, and what did you when did? I'm sorry, excuse me. When did you first become aware of the Mandela effect?
When did I first become aware? Well, it's interesting, right? Because I've heard other stories from people. There were small changes that I've noticed over the course of the years that I just chalked off to either ignorance or bad public education or something to that effect. I really, the first time, let's say the big change I noticed, I was working at a design agency. They do advertising, what have you, and I was doing copy editing for a design piece that we had to like approve. Anyways, I flagged a whole bunch of corrections because they had misspelled dilemma. Now, I had grown up learning that dilemma was spelled with like sort of like column with a dilemma, MNA ending. So I flagged them all, and they came back, and I was really surprised. There was some pushback saying like, no, 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 the double M is the correct spelling. Most of the people in our office was, I remember at the time, confused because we had all learned that it was, we had the MNA ending. And at the time, I literally just chalked it up to like bad public school education. Um, I was ignorant. This was like 2009. This is like just, I guess, a change in the wild, right? Um, Fast forward, there's a few other small changes here and there that again, you tend to rationalize these things away unless you kind of realize that there are other people experiencing the exact same changes, in which case it ceases to be kind of like a, let's say, a cognitive issue or confabulation or all those other things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I can also remember being at an arcade once. There was a Ghostbusters arcade port. It was the real Ghostbusters, so it had like the original cast, but it was a scene when the giant marshmallow man came storming through, and I used to be a big Ghostbusters fan growing up. I mean, I was born in 1978, so it's kind of my generation as a kid, just really, being into
Yeah.
that. But it was the Marshmallow Man came across the screen, and on his hat it said "Stay Puffed" with a
Uh-huh.
PUFT, right? And I remember at the time thinking, well, that's really strange. Here's an arcade game claiming to be the real Ghostbusters, and I thought, well, that's strange. They couldn't license the Stay Puff. Like I knew him as a Stay Puff Marshmallow Man. On screen, he was Stay Puffed in like the past tense with the T. And here I am again rationalizing and not realizing that it could be like there's these changes happening. So I'm thinking that it was just a matter of them being unable to
Yeah.
license it from the studio, so they had to change the name slightly. You know what I mean? But I mean it all sort of hit me really hard. September 2017 was really like when I had my like big kind of like breakthrough moments, right? And that's when I kind of like up until then, I hadn't even really like seen anything on YouTube or any of those like people say there were like trends at the time, like on like BuzzFeed and things like that. I completely missed all that, you know, and it all hit me at once. Like I had discovered like changes in the wild, like lots of changes. So I started doing research online, and I came across some Mandela Effect YouTube videos, and my jaw just dropped because it was like, yeah, I think they went through 50 of the very basic ones. And when you get it all at once, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's I don't know, tough for the mind to like absorb it all and then to kind of rebound, because it's like, oh, you know, it's a lot of very basic things are suddenly put into question, right? Like the nature of reality. You figure the nature of reality should be a consistent thing from one day to the other, right? So it was a strange period too. I don't know if you remember back in 2017, there was a series of eclipses, like really big ones, that led up to a big eclipse, I think, in August. And then we had the equinox, the autumnal equinox coming up that had some other kind of like cosmic things happening that time. Is there a correlation? I don't know. I have a feeling there's a correlation, because to me, it was like all this stuff rushed into my life, like in this torrent. It was ridiculous. But unbeknownst to me, other friends had similar, we'll call them awakenings, not necessarily to do with the Mandela effect, but in their own lives, they were wrestling with all sorts of, let's call it an increase in general strangeness, right? But they were kind of groping the darkness by themselves without like reaching out to me. Only it was like years later, like people are kind of reaching out. Everybody had, well, not everybody, but like a lot of people reached out, had strange, let's call them just the strange things that happened around the autumnal equinox, around the time of those eclipses. It was, God, a whole lot of them, right? Because I'm a graphic designer. I've been working in various design and advertising agencies at studios in Toronto.
Both Sandy and, I'm sorry to interrupt, both
No
Sandy
worries.
and I have our degrees in that.
We're all graphic designers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, right? Because I mean, that is our milieu, right? We're paid to kind of pay attention to details that people would otherwise not even look at, right?
It doesn't make sense, and for me, in the whole complete buy and sell, thing. Well, why would they charge all this money just to change one little thing? That doesn't make sense,
Well,
Or spend all
yeah.
this money.
Mm-hmm.
Spend all this money to change this all tiny thing. That would not even fit into the reality. The reality of that kind of work.
Well, that's like a first rationalization, because I can remember when you first discover it, right? You begin to question your own mind. And you're like, well, am I really that much of it? Like, am I that lazy as far as like not paying attention to the universe? Because for the most part, like with Strange being graphic designer, a lot of the clients that I worked with, like their logos have changed, and and it wasn't like we were. Like, you're essentially being paid to be like a brand ambassador in some ways, like to pay attention to the details. If you work with bigger companies, you usually get like a press, sort of like a branding kits that like you have to follow guidelines and stuff, right? So if I misspelled the logo, like that'd be huge, right? Like I'd be a laughing stock. I wouldn't be working in industry. And it's just strange to see things like I've worked with, for instance, JCPenney, Starbucks, Samsung, all like a couple of the bigger names. Like their logos have changed, right? And it's not just changed because they've changed their branding. They have done that, but it's like retroactively back all the way back in the past. They're not the same logos I worked with when I was working with them as like one of my clients, right? So that's a big shock.
Lord. Yeah, that is huge. And I was just wanting to mention,
Mm-hmm.
going to the next question, that
Sure.
one thing to think about is funny that I always think about is maybe we were the oddballs. Maybe we were in a strange reality where everything stayed the same. Maybe that's the strange one, and the rest is just normal. But anyway, I thought I'd throw that in. Okay, next question.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first ME that made you realize that this was more than just a trending YouTube topic?
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? What shocked me too is because I experienced all these changes at once, and I reached out to some friends, like in private. I'd assumed that, God, if I'm seeing this stuff, other people are seeing them too. And that's when you learn not everybody experiences these changes, right? And that's a bit of a strange discovery too, because it's like waking up in, I don't know, like a bad trope like Sliders or one of those bad like Twilight Zones, right? And you're the only person seeing these changes around you. So it makes it even more sort of alienating to kind of deal with. But you're asking the one that solidified for me that this was not just like, say, people getting carried away with like misremembering things on the internet, what have you, was when I saw something change, not just once, but twice. And it was, again, around the same time in 2017, I had seen the, what's his name? Auguste Rodin's The Thinker changed twice in 2017. Two times. The first time I saw it, I assumed it was my bad memory. I always remembered the thinker being posed with his hand in a fist pressed against his forehead. Let me just do. Oh, here I got a cam. Kind of pose. Wait, it's hard to do. Like that, kind of maybe.
Yeah.
That's how I remembered him, and it was strange because it was around March 2017 when I saw him, and his chin was resting gingerly on the back of his outstretched hand, with his fingertips pressed against his neck, and it's kind of like this, And I'm like, well, that's really strange. So you begin kind of questioning yourself, like, well, did I, like, I wasn't paying attention, right? So I took to looking at him every day. And then in November 2017, I mean, it's just one of those things. I just checked on him every day because it's like, for me, it was like a shocking change. But in November, he changed again. Now, I had gotten used to seeing him kind of sitting like this with his hand gingerly on the back of his hand. Now, in November, when I woke up, he's actually cramming his knuckle into his mouth.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's starting to look like swallowing his knuckles. It looks really bizarre.
And that kind of blew my mind because, I mean, the first time I could maybe pan it away to bad memory. Like, I haven't really looked at him in about 10 years. You know what I mean? Now I got used to looking at him every morning. And then one morning I wake up and he's changed again. Like, that to me, it made me realize it was changes to the physical world of sticks and stones and not so much just we're having like cognitive issues or there's like, I don't know, carbon monoxide, to build up or something like causing hallucinations. No, there was like something, and there's some incredible residuals for the Auguste Rodin's The Thinker that, to me, are some of the best evidence to kind of prove that there's something happening that goes beyond just like a mental issue. I don't know if I can maybe grab your screen for a second. Do I do that here? Is that yeah? Okay. Here, before I do that, let me just stop this cam for a sec. I'm just going to set it up. Here, what is his name? Thinker. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to grab your camera for a sec. There we go.
Should share screen.
Yeah, share screen. I'm trying to work on add to Chrome. Oh, I need an extension. You know what? I won't do that in the middle of a stream. Anyways, so what's fascinating about the residuals for the Thinker is that you have a number of children, a number of people, a whole lot of people posing directly in front of the Thinker, posing in the way I remember, where he's literally his fist to his forehead, right? And you'll have the photo I'm looking at right now is literally about 12 children sitting in front of the thing, fist to forehead, but the statue behind now is no longer posed in that way. The statue is now in that very awkward pose where he's shoving his fist into his mouth, right? And there's, I don't know, about 5 or 6 different photos where the people have like, the mirror is broken, where it should be really easy because they're literally right in front of the statue, but the statue behind them has changed. And that's what blows my mind. Having followed this, I've seen the statue change twice behind the same cast of people, like in the same residual photographs, right?
If you have a certain picture, maybe you could send it to Sandy and we could show
it.
I don't know.
We do that.
Here, I'm going to add this extension anyways, because if we're going to be chatting, here, let me try it. If I cut off, that's cool. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. Okay.
And also, I wanted to mention the same thing happened to me with the Rocky statue, because I live in Philadelphia.
Really? Okay.
And I remember his head straight ahead, and now he's like looking down to the right, and all these people, including Sylvester Stallone, pose in front of it with the head straight. No one's turning their head. So, same thing.
And there's that crazy that buffalo statue. I know Teresa had mentioned this one. The buffalo statue.
The Wall Street statue?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That one's definitely changed. Yeah.
Cool. Here, I'm going to try to, can you see my screen?
There we go. I got it.
You got it. Cool. You can see this over here. I've made a blog post. I've covered a number of Mandela effects, particularly for this Mandela Effect database, which we'll get to at a certain point. But some require a bit more of an explanation, just because there's a lot of very interesting residuals. Again, these are some of the photos that I was mentioning where you have a group of children posed fist to forehead, and the guy behind them, it's a little less clear in this one, but you could tell he's not even touching his forehead at this point, right? Why did all the children get it wrong?
Right. What the heck is that?
This is interesting too, because this is another guy in the Mandela Effect community, unbiased and on the fence, or maybe there's no on and biased on the fence. He was one of the first people I saw to also have noticed that the what do you call it? Statue of Change. When he first noticed the Statue of Change, again, he's posing with the way I saw it, which was his hand gingerly pressed underneath his chin, fingers touching his throat. Now, that was on March 2017. Just a few months later, he was now looking like this, where he's, like you can see, he's just cramming. He's a knuckle biter now. The thinker is a knuckle biter.
Really uncomfortable.
Right. Again, some more photos of like people fist to forehead, where again he's now eating his fist.
Is it? I'm wondering if it symbolizes something, like he is, like this whole reality is where, more stressful, or I don't know. He's a thinker, so maybe he's stuck on something, his thoughts, and so he has to bite his fist. I don't know, but the other ones look like he's just thinking more comfortably. No nudies.
Oh no! Well, it's interesting too. This guy is George Bernard Shaw. He's a famous writer, but he, unbeknownst to a lot of people, he actually posed for Auguste Rodin a number of times. Now, the night of the vernissage where they released The Thinker was in 1906. That night afterwards, George Bernard Shaw was really excited about this new painting, his new statue. So he decided to take a photograph called George Bernard Shaw in the Pose of the Thinker. This was taken the same night it was released. So again, okay, I know there's a bit of a nudies, but here he is in the Pose of the Thinker, taken the same night it was released, like that, their vernissage. Again, he should know better, because he's like, so it's just uncanny, the amount of.
Oh yeah, there's both of them. It's typical now with the Mandela Effect. There's, I see the both with the residue. That's why we're always putting residue, because it's.
Here, I'm going to stop the.
Yeah, it's now normal. It's confusing. I know. We lost Teresa, but anyway. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. Next question then. What are your top 3 Anchor MEs?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's a bit tough, because there are some people will say things like spelling changes don't count, and I don't believe that, because I don't know. Are you like I guess I'm a bit of I used to be a bit of a grammar Nazi. I've really kind of laid off, given that things are changing. You know what I mean? So in the face of etymology literally changing from one day to another, I can't really hold somebody accountable if they don't know how to spell the difference between there, and there. You know what I mean? But those small details that used to bother me. So anchor memories, Interview with a Vampire, right, was for me. I grew up in the early '90s. That was an influential movie for me. I was a fledgling goth, and when they adapted the Anne Rice book, which was one of my favorite books growing up, into the movie, I can remember everybody getting really excited. We went to see Interview with a Vampire, and at the time, I used to have a radio show. I used to use the Interview with the Vampire song. It was, I think, either the first or second track. As the theme song to the radio show, and I used to have to sign it out every day, every time of the radio show Saturday nights at CESM 89.3 FM in Montreal, and I would sign out the Interview with a Vampire CD. Nobody ever like pushed back or corrected me, you know what I mean? And I've written that out like at least 52 times for every radio show that I had to take that stupid CD out. Now, Interview with the Vampire, which is now what it's called, it kind of blows my mind because, I mean.
Yeah.
It was like, such a cornerstone memory in some ways. That's definitely up there. Another one that's a smaller change, not a lot of people talk about, is a character from Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days. Now, I used to have my Facebook account wasn't under my real name. I adopted like a pseudonym, right? And my pseudonym was Phineas. Essamine. Phineas I got from Phineas Fogg, who was, in my mind, the main character from Around the World in 80 Days. He's like the quintessential Victorian, fussy Victorian name. And his name was hilarious because Phineas, like nobody's called Phineas, right? So I don't know, ever since I've had my Facebook account, my page is still, if you land on it, it's like facebook.com/Phineas whatever. Now, Phineas is no longer Phineas Fogg. His name changed to Phileas Fogg with an L. Now that again kind of blows my mind just because it had been my name, right? Like I've been using Phineas because I liked the character, I don't know, for 10, 15 years almost. The fact that it changed to Phileas, it's like, was I not paying attention to that? So that kind of blew my mind a little bit. Some other small changes too. I used to work at a radio station doing, I was a program manager. So I had to both hire the DJs who came on the radio show and then compile, what do you call them? Like just playlists and report back to labels to let them know like, hey, like you sent us X number of CDs. This is how well they're charting, et cetera, right? Like just to keep them in the loop. One of them that was big when I was a kid, was Chumbawamba. I don't know if you guys remember Chumbawamba.
Yes.
But now they're called Chumbawamba, right? And like
No.
to me that just hurts my head because it's like, wow, I had to report, like I've seen like everybody play Chumbawamba. It was the God, what was the name of that stupid song? The Tub Thumper, right? I get knocked down, I get back up again. Chumbawamba, but it's Chumbawamba.
It doesn't even say.
Excuse me. I'm just gonna grab because you guys like residuals, right? I kind of really like residuals. This is like what got me into. This is what I guess helped me to cope with the changes.
Same with us.
Just trying to find some physical evidence that corroborated like what I remembered, and I didn't think I'd find any. Honestly, I thought it was just me. Like I knew I wasn't going crazy, but I didn't think there would be let's call it an abundance of treasures. Like there's a wealth of treasures once you actually start looking for them that go beyond just statistical like errors, like typos and stuff, right? Like these things they're articles that corroborate like so many of our memories the way things used to be. When I found that there were still residuals, like that's huge. Like that, there's so many implications, right? Because we don't know what's going on, right? And anybody who says they know what's going on, let's be frank. Like everything's back on the table. Like all basic assumptions should be re-examined. And we as living beings only see, like, say, a fraction of like the known universe. We see like a percentage. I'll say. I think it's even smaller than that, right? So to claim to know how the universe works and to be just the arbiter of reality and say no, reality doesn't happen this way, is pretty arrogant. I don't have that kind of arrogance to know. I stay intellectually curious, right? Like, it's a shame a lot of people deny stuff or go into cognitive dissonance mode when they see things that we can both agree change, but then they don't either engage with it or they go into kind of like, I don't know, it's this weird denial thing where they change the subject really quickly, or it's a shame. But for me, finding the physical stuff helped because I used to have to console a lot of people around this time when a lot of people were discovering the Mandela Effect, because there's no social safety net to catch any of these people, right? Like, all you guys had a hard time. I know I was consoling people almost every night. People thought they had died and like were in hell. You know what I mean? Like, no, everybody had their own narrative as to like what was going on. And it's a shame that, you know, even if you're not experiencing the effects and somebody in your life is, like, at least like listen to what they have to say, because they're not experiencing these in isolation. They're experiencing them in addition to the other million people who are seeing these changes happen often at the same time. And I find it's the flip-flops that are the biggest proof to the people who are firsthand experiencing these. Like, we call them flip-flops. I guess technically the thinker changing twice is kind of a flip-flop, but we're thinking, I know I had seen the Tom Hanks line to Apollo 11 where he's like, Houston, we have a problem, and Houston, we've had a problem, changed to the past tense, and then a few months later it changed back to the original way. Like, those kind of changes are like kind of mind-blowing when you experience them firsthand, because it again reiterates like, wow, these aren't just like, you know, like our universe is changing. Like,
Right.
I'm kind of going off topic, but if you want to hop on to the next questions, like, you know, feel free to push back.
Very interesting what you're saying.
Okay.
Next question though is, when did you create your channel?
Which I guess then ties into the Mandela Effect database. It was something that came into being. There's another Mandela Effect. What do we call it? Do we have names? I don't know. Person, Josh Speed, who is active in some of the Mandela boards, who we wanted to create this Mandela Effect database. Essentially, it's a database of residuals of some of the bigger effects so that people could reference them. And I find it helps as, it has helped a lot of people, because it's one thing when you're experiencing it just by yourself and you think, like, I'm the only person experiencing these changes. But then when you see evidence of the way you remember it, and not just evidence, but overwhelming evidence, it's like getting a postcard from home, right? You feel like, I find it also helps to broach the topic with people who might not be experiencing it, because you can show them, oh, well, look, all these, you know, well-meaning people. Here's 100,000 J.C. Penney adverts the way I remember it, whereas now it's J.C. Penney EY, but it can help to facilitate those conversations, because there's like a treasure trove of these awesome residuals. So the Mandela Effect, again, to get back to that, I think it went up in like 2017, but it's just something really that I was hoping to help people. And from the feedback, I'm certain it has. Like, we have found some crazy residuals. What are crazy residuals? We'll call them perfect residuals, right? Oftentimes, what we'll find with a change, like, say it goes from like Jiffy to what is it now? Jif? I don't even know what it is anymore. God, Jif peanut butter.
Yeah, Jiffy,
you know, what you'll find is a lot of circulars where it's written Jiffy peanut butter, but then you have the product shot and it's the Jif logo, right? And you're like, well, there's kind of a discrepancy between the two. That's not we'll call it a perfect residual, but every so often you'll find one where you can actually have like a Jiffy bottle. Or I found some for like Noxema, spelled with the Noxema instead of with the Z-E-M-A. If you don't mind, I'm going to grab your screen share, because I could, like, I'm talking about this database, but it's easier just if I kind of show you a little bit. How does this work? All right. Share screen.
You got it last time.
Okay, I got it last time. Here we go. Oops. Is it working yet?
No, it seems to be blank. Okay, wait.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We'll share the address a little later, but essentially in the album section, this is divided into some of the bigger effects. I can kind of look at a glance. There's a few, like the that are, in my mind, bigger, like the JCPenney. It's a pretty large Mandela Effect. The Chick-fil-A, believe it has 3 different populations who remember like a Chick-fil-A, a Chick-fil-A spelled with a C-H-I-K, and then there's now the Chick-fil-A spelled like a small baby chicken. I just want to hop into here just to show you the caliber of like residuals that are out there to get, because what we're finding is not just editorial work. Like, it's one thing if there's an editor or a journalist or writer or, you know, letter to the editor talking about JCPenney. It's another thing when you find adverts that originate from JCPenney itself or JCPenney magazine that has the logo and a lot of information around it. JCPenney, to me, is again one of those treasure troves where there's just so much. Like, I've haven't reached the bottom of the barrel as far as like the really kind of cool residuals. Again, for those who don't know the change, I'll just open this up because this compares the oops, sorry, that's kind of wiggling around. Like you see on the left side, JCPenney, that's the way it's spelled now, as the EY. On the right-hand side, penny, it used to be spelled like the currency, right? The smallest unit of currency, JCPenney, and JCPenney, like penny days and stuff like that. Again, a comparison of JCPenney versus the JCPenney, like in the same, like call it the ad campaign, the I Love Your Style ad campaign. Go back to the album. But again, it's quite overwhelming. Like, you've got like the JCPenney catalog with the logo, as I remember it, JCPenney, but even like the supporting information, like there's the JCPenney card. Like, I know if I put the wrong spelling for Visa in an ad that goes out, like, I'm not going to be working very much as a graphic designer, right? So, God, JCPenney, like, geez, right? Like, and a lot of these are ads from JCPenney itself. So it's JCPenney red tag sale, like the JCPenney Friday night, Saturday specials, JCPenney fashion comes to life. God, the JCPenney Auto Center, right? Even to the point where like this is crucial information if you're putting out an ad, right? JCPenney, www.jcpenney.com, right?
Wow.
You'd be sure, like, so where it becomes interesting is it's overwhelming just how much there is out there. And it's like having worked in the industry, I think bringing up the ads is when there's ads involved, there's usually a whole lot of checks and balances to make sure, like spelling mistakes, like typos and stuff don't happen, just because I mean, it used to be a lot more expensive, or maybe it still is, like purchasing real estate in physical, like you have to buy physical space, it's expensive. And then if you have an ad and you're outsourcing either to like either in-house agency or outside agency, there's a lot of people involved who have to like look over stuff, you know. There are people, there's the copywriters, there's legal, there's the project manager, there's usually the guy who signs off, who's like, you know, a head somewhere. And then when you get to the newspaper, you have to sign on a proof. So essentially they print it out and they make you look at it. And when you sign the proof, it essentially makes them legally not, essentially, if there are typos, they're no longer legally held accountable because you signed up on this proof, right? Otherwise you could get like, I guess your money back, what have you, because, you know, they fucked up. Whoops. So when I see things like this, like the JCPenney catalog, where even the copyright is jcpenney.com, like when I used to work with, like JCPenney they used to, a large company, right? Like they make billions and stuff. They're not like a bush league small company. Like their branding is pretty tight. And now there are guys in legal who, their only job whenever stuff goes out, like print ads and stuff, is to look at it and make sure everything you're saying legally you're allowed to say, right? And stuff, when I see copyrights where it's like the legalese is wrong, like, you know, the legal guys would never make mistakes like that. Like, they're so anal.
Yeah,
you know
see,
what I mean?
in my reality, if something was really successful, that big, you know, that and Coca-Cola, they would never, ever change anything. They just leave it like that forever, you know? That's how it was for me. And when this
Yeah.
started, I was like, why would they be messing around? People aren't going to like that. So yeah. So but yeah,
Even
and go
yeah.
ahead.
Let's see, like these are ads like from JCPenney itself, like dear JCPenney customers, misspelling, of course. Sincerely, JCPenney. Now here they are being anal about like an argyle tweed vest being slightly like marked down, or have you. But they failed to spell the name of their company right. Like these are ads, right? That would have been in
I
a
have a
paper.
feeling these are changing on their own, or like not even changing, but just going to a whole different reality where it was always like that. Either one of those, it's like on their own. It's like people. I don't feel like this is being manipulated by anyone. I don't
Oh
know
no, well
what
I
you
think
think.
I think you're on to like the truth in the matter, right? It almost feels like we're becoming aware of our multidimensional or
Yes.
existence, and it's not
It's
so much that things are changing, but like it's our perspective that's changing. It's like like I've suddenly entered the world of JC Penney, right, where it's an
yes.
EY. Now, what's interesting though is like you would assume that things like these JC Penney ads wouldn't linger, but they do, right? So that's a little what do you call it? A clue, let's say. So looking at it, it's if I look at the population sizes, right? Because what's fun is a lot of these ads come from newspaper archives. The newspaper archives has, I'll have to check. Last I checked, it was something like 500 million scanned newspaper pages, right? Which is a lot, and you can do a search and immediately, like if I do just a pure search for JCPenney, it pulls up about 100,000 JCPenney spelled this way with the PENNY.
Wow.
Which to me statistically again is a lot because there are instances. I don't know if you're familiar with the whoops, I'm going back one. Oh dear. Back out of this.
Wow. Well,
The Oscar Mayer, right? So Oscar Mayer is a weird one because for a lot of people, Oscar Mayer it used to be spelled Meyer, but what's unique about the Oscar Mayer is that their like slogan or what have you, they actually teach kids how to spell, right? So Meyer. So it's what's fascinating is you can find some great residuals where like the Oscar Mayer is still written on the package, stuff like that, like just as we remember it. Now I'm coming back to the whole population things, right? If I do search for Oscar Mayer spelled this way, I get about 30,000 really great quality residuals about, looking like this, right? Where it's not just one-offs, but like this one here, like from Oscar Mayer performer to artist, Louise John does it all. So she's actually talking about entering the Oscar Mayer Baloney contest, where she's practiced the Oscar Mayer Baloney song. My baloney has a first name, it's Oscar. My baloney has a second name, it's Meyer. Like why would you continually like spell it? Now, if you assume that what I've discovered are essentially just typos, right? Like you can make a case, you're like, oh, these are just typos, Nathaniel. Like God, right? So okay, fine, they're just typos. Now you would assume if I write Oscar Mayer spelled maybe like Meyar, right? Or reverse the letters, I would come across just as like let's say many possible mistakes, like I'll call them mistakes in quotes, like I've discovered with these Oscar Mayer. But the truth is, if I spell it any other way, I don't find anything, right? If I spell it with an Mayar, let's say, I'll find maybe 2 out of like the 500 million out there, right? And if I spell it any other way, I don't find anything. But Oscar Mayer, the way a lot of people remember it, unlocks like this, again, this pure treasure trove of like really quality residuals. So what it's looking like to me is, yes, we're kind of like becoming aware of our multi-dimensional universe. Some of us, for some reason, are shifting perspective and we can remember our shifts, but it's also looking a bit like there's, I want to call it like an overlap of different dimensions. I say that because there are some people who remember like different, like there are some NFX where people remember 3 or 4 different ways, iterations to that potential thing. I'm thinking Chick-fil-A is a good one because there is really solid evidence for like the chic-fil-A, like, oh, that's so chic, and also the Chick-fil-A spelled without the
Yeah,
C,
well, if they're
right?
not overlapping, what would be the reason for any kind of residue? I know.
Well, I think the overlapping is potentially the reason for some of the residue. It's almost like instead of the old reality completely gone, there is still, God, every time I see the MAYER, to me, that's just so strange. Now, God, sorry, I'm just looking up. It's again, it's just unbelievable the amount of residuals out there. And I've looked at these so often, but one thing that changed for me, God, about a year ago, was the spelling of wiener, which to me was strange. Wiener for me used to be spelled WEINER. That changed. Now, if we look through the residuals, you can see the Wienermobile here is spelled like with a new spelling, but I mean, a lot of these still have. I'm assuming. I'm opening my mouth. Maybe it's not true. No. Oh my God, they all have they all have the bad Wienermobile spelling. Gross. Anyways, yeah, that's so strange. I saw all these change. You become quite like I cut all these out like by hand almost, right? Ooh, oh God, they're all Wienermobiles. Anyways, that's another change. So changes. The weird thing is changes have just not stopped, right? You assume. Well, I assumed 2017 that was just like a band-aid thing. Like things would just change, but then there's always an influx. Like it seems like cyclical. Almost every 3-4 months, there's another batch of new changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I'm gonna stop it.
I honestly find stuff every single week, but it does slow down. Like this week, I found one good one.
Okay.
Maybe 2. But like in another week, I'll have so much stuff, I'll have to break it up over 3 weeks. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't say like
No.
it's like every 3 months when I find a ton at once.
Yeah, like how many are going on, and it's always interesting to know because that way if maybe it's a speed up, slow down kind of thing. I don't know.
And also, it's sorry. Continue. Sorry, Sandy.
I'm sorry. You just had a request in the chat to show the title of your JCPenney folder, because Damien's saying that everything inside is now one word JCPenney, but your folder is still labeled JC space.
Oh yeah. Well, it's weird. I've looked into that. I mean, the logo is stylized in one word. I'm gonna check it out online. Let me see. JCPenney. I know. I've spaced it out. John Cash Penny. It's just. I'm actually used to the older way it used to be written with the periods in between. And if you look at the logo history, it did go through one iteration where it did have periods and the space, and it did have officially an iteration too where it was pennies with an apostrophe S. Those. I have a feeling that JCPenney expanded really quickly at some points, and it took them a while for the branding to kind of all to come together under one roof. The whole idea of branding in general is kind of like a more recent phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like the older companies didn't have to have like I guess the same look at every touch point like we have to do now. So
well, see, that's interesting you say that because in my past, at least from like the 1950s until the Mandela Effect, branding was everything. You didn't mess with the brand.
Okay, well, true. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking because JCPenney's been around since 1902, and around 1902, they're not really.
I get that because like even Coca-Cola, their logo was all over the place until like the 1930s.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I get it. Yep.
And it's fun too because you can still see in the official logo history like there's a JCPenney's. They used to be called like J.C. Penny Co. And also even before that, I think they were just called pennies without the JC at some point. They were called the Golden Rule initially before they switched over to the JCPenney stores. And again, the reason why it was called JCPenney is because the man's name was John Cash Penny. And I can find just as many advertisements, like we'll call them newspaper articles, advertisements for speeches given by the owner of the store, John Cash Penny, but it's spelled like the currency, like the
Right.
you
Yeah,
know.
and that's the thing. Like some people
So-
say, like, well, his name, it's because it's his name, so it didn't change.
Exactly.
But we have so
Well-
many people's names changing.
Well, that's it. It's usually the domino effect of like something else changing, which is why now we see this store JCPenney change because his name changed, right? Which is kind of weird. I know it's it's
Well,
amazing
no.
the things we've gotten used to saying. You know,
Not to freak you out, I gotta ask you this.
Okay, go ahead.
Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Everybody I've asked, Teresa, Dan, Fizzy, Damien in the chat, your name's changed for us.
Interesting.
I'm not.
Which part?
I'm
Tell
not
me.
kidding.
No, I like this.
I remember Nathaniel Winters Hebert.
Ooh, cool. Okay.
And so does everyone else. That's the weird part.
Cool. Well, that's good to know. Other people have said my other name, like Hebert, has changed for them. Either it's like Hubert or Herbert or like variations on that. Which
Fizzy said Herbert too. Fizzy did say Herbert.
Okay, cool. Too. You know, that's good to know. I know I've been jumping a lot.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't feel alone. My name has changed it for everyone too.
And it's strange too
Mine
because
too.
What do you call it? The unbiased and on the fence used to be, at least that's how I knew the show. Unbiased and on the fence. There was an what do you call it? An ampersand in there. It's no longer there, and it was one of my first touchstones when discovering the Mandela Effect. Like his channel helped me to kind of like cope and
wait. What? Wait. Go back up. You're saying
Sure.
there is no and in there?
Right? No, go here. Well, it's a change I saw here. Let me find unbiased and on the fence because I think there should be an and in there, right? Like that's how I remember the show.
There's an ampersand, but I remember and.
Wait. Well, actually, unbiased and on the fence. Here, I'll call it up. I might be wrong. I might have just like slipped backwards into some other universe.
Or it could have flip-flopped.
No, actually, look, if you look at his logo, the and isn't there anymore, which is the weird part. Now, I say that, I'm making a claim. I'll have to back it up. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here, I'm just going to borrow your screen for a sec. Oh, yeah, show me screens. Oh, entire screen. Share. Now, I don't know if... do you see the screen yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Curiouser?
Okay, coming.
Anyways, on my screen, I've got the logo for the show, and here it is, unbiased on the fence. There's no and. There never was an and, apparently. Now, from what I've read, apparently Shane Robinson, who also is a graphic designer, much like us, again, if I don't know if there's
so many of us.
So many of us, right? So Shane Robinson, apparently he had an iteration of the logo where he did have like an and in it that he decided not to use. Now I honestly remember it being unbiased and on the fence, but according to Shane Robinson, show always unbiased on the fence, no ends. So that did that change for me? Does that change my life? Not really, but it's just again a little strange.
Damien is saying, "Oh, that's even weirder." Wait, look at I'll get to Damien's thing in a second.
Okay, cool.
But the image that you have up on the screen, put it back.
Put it back. All right. Your flat share speed. Sorry, I gotta.
Exact screen you had up.
Here I am.
I just saw something I had to point out.
Okay.
I can't see the screen.
Here, it should call up. Let me know when you see it.
Curious, can you screen share again?
So I'm trying to. Okay. Oh, here I am. Okay, cool.
So right next to the image.
Over here?
Right next to the image. There's Shane is streaming with someone. Do you see it?
Yeah.
And there's no and there at all. It just says unbiased on the fence.
Oh, here. Wait, unbiased on the fence. I'm trying to.
The image right
next
unbiased
to on the fence. Logo. Yeah, well, that's the name of his show. There's no and. That's what I'm saying. No, it's just unbiased on the fence. So Shane Robinson. Unbiased on the fence. There was never an and. Never an and. And I mean, here he is, unbiased on the fence. Somebody put an and in there. Well, why did they think there was an and? Okay. Oh. Anyways, so a lot of it. So let me stop the screen. So it makes.
Damien's asking if you can show the photo that you showed earlier. It had the ampersand.
Oh.
Oh God. I don't know the photo that you showed earlier.
I just closed the screen. I apologize. I could do another Google search, but I won't bother to just call it up. There are a lot of local changes. See, what makes the Mandela Effect strange is people say, well, how come it only affects like pop culture, or and you're like, oh, well, does it? Okay, well, it doesn't necessarily. Again, a lot of the changes that are publicized are the big pop culture ones because those are the unique cultural touchstones that we can all agree with, right? We're like, oh, like Lucy. Oh God, what was the saying? Sorry. Oh man.
I'm home. Lucy, I'm home. Oh no,
no.
You got some explaining to do.
You got some explaining to do, and it's so there's that, and which now no longer exists. I forget where I'm going with this, but how does that even happen, right? God. No, okay, so again, that's a big cultural thing. That's something we can all relate to. And now I've been coming across like small changes, right? Like in my life, like personal changes, and even just small local changes. Like there's a very famous Montreal newscaster who's been on the air for about 35 years, at least ever since I've been a kid, Mitsumi Takahashi. Now, God, she's such a fixture in the community. Her name changed recently from Mitsumi Takahashi to Matsumi Takahashi, which is
my God.
Like blows my mind because it's like she was a point of contention too because she's like a visible minority who was championing a lot of causes and stuff, and nobody's ever made fun of her saying like Matsumi or anything along those lines, right? Like to me, that's a fairly big change. Again, there's another small town nearby that. Oh, call it a small town. It's one of the largest towns in northern Quebec called Shibugamu. Shibugamu, right? I'm gonna grab your and Shibugamu is hilarious because as a kid, when you discover this place, like it becomes the butt of so many jokes because it sounds ridiculous, right? Like Shibugamu, right? Oh, here we are.
Yeah.
Now the crazy part is, I mean. Can you guys see this? I've got a Shibugamu air service up. It's coming up. I mean, this nobody will relate to this. Again, it goes back to how come it only affects pop cultural stuff. Well, it doesn't only affect pop cultural stuff. It's because the pop culture stuff is, again, the thing that we all can kind of like agree upon. But every small thing, like this is the Shibugamu air service, Bugamu, right? Like, and it was pronounced like a cow. Like you would laugh as a kid. You'd be like Shibugamu, right? So here's the Shibugamu air service offering flights to Shibugamu. Shibugamu is now spelled Shibugamau with an M-A-U. Now again, it blows my mind. Again, there's such solid residuals. Even like there's stuff like this where this woman is posting on Twitter, right? So she's like, shout out to Shibugamu, hashtag the way I remember it, sharing with whoever. But if you look at the image she shared, it's like Shibugamau, 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 Shibugamau. It's like, why can't people type what they see, right? If you're going to say like it was just a spelling error, right? So for me, one of the biggest changes. Sorry?
It's like they're not even related to each other.
I don't know if you guys experienced this Mandela Effect. To me, this was like, I guess, the bigger one of like recently.
I am sending, really quick, I'm sending Curiouser the picture that Damien was talking about. He sent me a screenshot of what you had up on the screen.
Sure.
And it says unbiased ampersand.
Oh, cool.
On the fence. So I just sent that to you, Curiouser, on Messenger. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
No worries. I don't know if you guys remember the Connors. Like to me, that was like a big change, only because there was so much media like fervor over Roseanne's dismissal from the show, and so many tweets and people supporting it and stuff like that, right? And they've been like a TV staple families. Like when I was growing up, like it's you relate to them because you didn't have very many like let's call them like low to the middle class families being depicted in this sort of way on television up until then. It was just always kind of almost fantastical, like the lives people were leading. Now the Connors for me changed. I always known them as the Connors with an ORS. Recently, and I'm going to say recently, that was like in February. It was real time because I mean I was looking at articles one day, it was the Connors. The next day it was the Connors spelled with an ERS. And to me, it changes.
That's big. It was an O for me, 1,000%.
You know, and then when you start looking at the residuals, it's like Roseanne is gone, but the Connors gets a shot, right? TV review, a Roseanne list of the Connors ranks a winner. And it's not just like the Connors, it's the Connors everywhere, right? And this is an image released by ABC. You would figure they could just like look at the press kit and get it right. But, you know, the Connors airing Tuesday on ABC. Well, how weird. I didn't see this. Like the Connors spelled here with the ERS in the middle of a paragraph. Right? Is that mental?
Mm-hmm.
God.
That's crazy.
To me, that's huge because here's the thing. A lot of people will say, well, you know, the things you're misremembering are things from your youth. Like Bernstein Bears, like you haven't read that since you were like, 4, which is a fair criticism. But when something changes that's like fresh in your mind, like literally, the Connors was such a big, like there's so much media hype and like discussion, water cooler discussion about this thing, right? And when that changes in real time, it's like, that's a little strange. Dan Connor. And it's not just print ads, but here, I'm going to try to find just very quickly to show that even people who should know better, like ABC, this is from Fox News. This was published January 15th, 2020, right? So I'm just calling up a website. It's a news article about, I think, Sarah Gilbert reminiscing about Hollywood or something. I don't know. But the Connors with the ORS star opens up the biggest lesson she learned in Hollywood. And as you scroll through the article, it's just nothing but nonstop Connors from somebody who, like, again, Fox News should know better, right? Like, why did they make this mistake? Yeah, so that was a big change for me. I'm just going to hit stop. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I'm going to say keep your eyes peeled because even locally in your small towns, things may change.
Oh, yeah, I've had a street name change on me, a major street,
Wow.
and a town name change.
Yeah,
City Avenue, it's called now, but it was City Line Avenue.
Interesting.
And the news stations still say City Line Avenue. There's businesses that say City Line Avenue, like on the building, yeah. City Line Nail Salon, like all this stuff, and it's always been City Ave. And Narbith is now Narberth with an R.
Wow, okay.
That changed for me too. So, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, it's everywhere. It's in everything. Everything has changed.
Everything. Well, it's not just spelling, but like anything you can think of, like, geography, geology, astronomy, like physiology. Like there are going to be changes, which is the weird part, right? Like, I'm thinking in terms of physiology, the only one that comes to mind, the T-Rex. That was a change that happened about like 2 years ago. When I grew up, the T-Rex had 3 fingers on its stubby little hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noble goes crazy over that one.
And now it's got 2 little fingers, and it's so strange because again, you can still find a lot of depictions of the T-Rex with 3 fingers, but if you look at things like Jurassic Park, he now has 2 fingers, it just looks very odd. Like, I mean, his little ineffectual hands were silly to begin with, but the 3 fingers just makes him look even like sillier. But I'm glad you guys called this up, the unbiased and on the fence. Now, I wrote this in 2017, I think, or around then. Again, when I made reference to the show, it was called Unbiased and on the Fence. That's why I put the ampersand. Now, I guess that you could call that residuals because that's at the time how I was experiencing the show and how I remembered it. It's passed on since. which is weird.
But yeah, Damien caught that when you were showing it, so he sent it over.
Thank you. See, you guys have sharp eyes. That's the thing, right? Like, it's not like we're I don't know, blindly like groping in the dark. Like,
Yeah, I just triggered someone in the chat.
okay.
Hold on for a second. Yes, it's City Line Avenue is now City Ave. The line is gone. And Narbeth, it was Narbeth for me, Beth, and now it's Berth, Narbeth.
Birth. Interesting.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. So
I
guess Ramsey knows my area. But we have a lot of questions. What question are we on? That was just the three anchor
I was
effects.
thinking maybe we could pass on the questions. We're probably going to be, we're kind of pressed for time.
for
or
time.
whatever.
Yeah, no worries.
There's a couple of interesting ones though I'd like to ask real fast.
Please.
If you don't mind, if you don't mind either, Sandy, if I just pick a couple questions.
No, go right ahead. Then I have one question so far, just one from the chat.
All right. First of all, do you think that the weather changes are related to the Mandela effect?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, right? And I'm gonna have to assume possibly. I can't definitively say yes or no.
Definitely,
Here's the thing, right? Like there are. What did they? I'll have to re-examine the information again, but if I remember, they have added something like 20 new cloud formations to like the cloud formation like breakdown, right? And it's like, well, 20 new ones. Like, I don't know, I'm 40 something years old.
Right.
How do we have new clouds all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say there are a lot of strange weather phenomena that I didn't experience as a child that like happen all the time now, like from sundogs to God, what are some of the other ones? I've seen some of the light pillars. Like I've never seen light pillars before. I live in Quebec. It's cold, right? Like you would expect to have seen these things before, and suddenly it's just like the new normal. Haha. So I do think some of the weather changes are likely, again, just changes because we've seen changes to geography, like maps changing, changes to our position in the galaxy, right? Like so,
right.
Yeah, why not? Sure, weather changes. I'm sure there are weather changes.
Okay, great. And the next question is that do you think the laws of physics might be changing?
I think so, right? Like we've seen some strange things with light seemingly changing. So I almost have a feeling that like the laws of physics are changing. That's like those are the ones and zeros that make up like sort of the foundation everything is based on, right? I almost feel like there are some changes, and I'm trying to think if I've got any like concrete examples off the top of my head. I don't know, because there's been so many different like rainbows in clouds and all this new stuff. It almost feels like there has been either like some change in optics or something. I mean, because we've seen so many changes, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some changes to the fundamental, just reality, like physics.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. But, laws of physics actually do change, but it's over like, you think, over a long periods of time and stuff,
Right.
But this is I know.
Well, that's it. We have to kind of re-examine all our assumptions, right? I used to really be into etymology, where you trace a word's evolution over time, and you see like where it came from and stuff. And I always assumed that was a slow, gradual process. Now I'm beginning to almost think that the study of etymology is really, if you want to like be a bit woo-woo, as like a study of jumps in dimensions, right? It's kind of almost like the dilemma hit this this wall where we suddenly have dilemma, but it wasn't it's a forced change, right? It's not like a natural evolution over time. I'm almost willing to bet a lot of the etymology changes that people have noticed are maybe, inadvertently Mandela effects somehow, but it'd be fun to kind of dig deeper into etymology or those kind of fields to see what's changing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and then last one, do you see anything happening in the future, either related to or because of the Mandela effect?
Here's the thing. I think, I don't know how long people can continue to just kind of blindly be in denial, because it's fine if there's just one batch of changes that everybody kind of ignores. But if like things keep changing and changing and changing and changing, which we're kind of seeing, it doesn't seem like this is stopping. I mean, we'll have to address it as a society, right? Because the way I see it, like I told you at the beginning, when I first discovered this effect, I was consoling a lot of people online who thought they had died, or whose loved ones didn't believe that there were changes, and like wanted them to be like hospitalized or seek medical attention. When it starts having ramifications, like when people dying, if people start losing money, I think that's when people will start taking this seriously. Now I wonder if companies like Fruit Loops and what have you have seen a drop in, let's say, the percentage of people who are loyal to the company, or even to sales.
By the Mandela affected, for one thing.
Well, that's it, because I know personally I don't consume the things that have been Mandela affected, right? So my consumer attitudes aren't unique. I'm assuming other people might feel the same way about certain things. So when it starts affecting the bottom line, they'll have to address it, right? And there are things too, like HIPAA, right? Now I'm from Canada, so I don't particularly know what the HIPAA is, but it was the acronym HIPPA. Is now I think HIP. Oh God, help me out here. AA maybe it's no, or HIIPA.
It's HIPAA now, but it was
it's ridiculous.
HIPPA.
Right?
And I
mean, it's
caught many doctors saying it HIPPA as well.
Well, that's it. So there are doctors, and there are nurses, and there are RNs, and all these people who generally still think they're working for, like, HIPPA. Now, from what somebody's told me, is even it wasn't just a change in acronym. Like, the organization does different things now, right? So it's like if you have people within your organization, it's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand isn't doing anymore. I don't know. I think we'll have to have this conversation, because here are some real world effects that I think were Mandela effects that seemed really strange when all those like 737s started falling out of the sky, or super 747s or whatever they were called. Now, a lot of us had experienced the Mandela effect where the the engines were suddenly placed ahead of the wings. Now, when I grew up, the engines always sat underneath the wings. Everything depicted in movies. I've done like countless like really boring Microsoft simulators where you just like taxi and you fly boring 747s from like New York to, I don't know, like Vancouver, right? And it's like a 6-hour game. But those engines were sitting underneath the wing. To get your license, I think you need something like 10,000 man hours, right? So you got to really get comfortable with how your craft responds. If you make any small changes to your stupid plane, because you're so used to behaving in one way, if it suddenly changes on you, like every little nuance is going to be exaggerated, right? So I'm assuming there must have been pilots who are used to the engines, like, dimension-wise, where I'm from, being underneath the wing, suddenly find themselves in a plane where it's ahead of them. They're expecting to land or have it a certain way, and we saw planes crash, right? They had studied it, and I think the engineers came back, said they thought the engines had been placed too ahead. Now, to me, that is a potential real-world effect of a Mandela effect, where like lives are at stake, right? Another thing I think too is surgeons, doctors who are expecting like organs to be in a certain area, who discover like in the operating theater that like the organ's not there. Like, I don't know. We should have this conversation. I think in the future, yeah, we'll definitely. Especially if the changes can like keep going, like
right.
It'll be hard to keep denying things because some of them are so blatant. I don't know.
I know.
We'd hope so.
Okay, and right. Okay, Sandy, is there any question? Or first, is there anything you'd like to add to us, or tell us something we didn't, talk about, or add
Um,
to?
yeah, let me see. I'm going to. We were talking about what do you call it? Some anchor memories. One of them was just Chumbawamba because, goddamn, like it was just everywhere. It was hard to ignore Chumbawamba in 98, 99, or what have you. Um, Now, we're talking about the caliber of residuals, right? Like, how good are your residuals? Like if it's written by, again, a journalist, they might have gotten it wrong, right? If it's written by a graphic designer like me, who's like making, like an ad for JCPenney, I might have got it wrong. But here's the crazy part, right? I found where we're looking for Chumbawamba. Now, we remember this, the guys and gals of Chumbawamba. Now, here's the crazy thing. I found an article written by Danbert Nobacon, who's one of the members of Chumbawamba. Okay? So here, I'm just going to go. This is, and he's doing a review of Frank Zappa. So it's Frank Zappa review by Dan Bert Nobacon of Chumbawamba again. So he goes on and on and on talking about like this very influential early 60s Frank Zappa album, but then he ends it with, "This caught my attention and became an inspiration for Chumbawamba." Right? This is, I mean, did he drink too much of the cider drink and too much of the whiskey drink? Like, does he not know his own band? You know what I mean? Like, so, like, what excuse does he have? Like, so,
Yeah, there's
I
no
mean,
excuse there.
right from the horse's mouth. I mean, somebody could make a case that a very confused copy editor like got to it later, but you know what I mean? I mean, that's a bit convoluted. Sure, that's a possibility. But when you see things like this is what blows my mind because when you look through the old newspaper archives, you see this constantly. Not just one instance, you see them like thousands and thousands of times where there are ads for very clearly Chumbawamba now, but very often you have the caption associated with the package or whatever saying Chumbawamba. So we have Chumbawamba. As a graphic designer, like just laying this out is like, boy, am I lazy, right? So here we got Chumbawamba again, very in large all caps, Chumbawamba. Jeez. So it still blows my mind. I don't. So I feel sorry if you people are from the Chumbawamba universe. That's cool. I get
No.
that. But the Chumbawamba was just, like you say Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping is your favorite one-hit wonder. Why is that? Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba is amazing because it's such a ridiculous song and it's catchy and of course it's fun to say Chumbawamba. It's very fun to say. I
It's
mean, if
such
I
a
saw this,
specific name. It's such a specific name.
well, that's it too. And I mean, their name is so large on all their albums. If I saw this, I would be like allowed saying Chumbawamba all the time until somebody corrected me. You know what I mean? And I've never once heard anybody say Chumbawamba or even inadvertently said it out loud because why would you? And it's not like I've heard people say Chumbawamba to me. Like I was just like you read it phonetically because it's written on the album cover. At least that's how I did it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, the residuals is great. If people ever want to kind of dig through stuff, the website is newspapers.com. I think there's you can have a few free days to dig around, but there's a charge. But it's actually a great service. Like I just cannot believe the stuff I found, like for like Chumbawamba. Yeah, and it just goes on and on and on. It never ends. So it's a fun hobby if you ever want to like kind of feel like a armchair sleuth or like an Indiana Jones. Like you can figure out why the uterus is falling apart from your living room. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for?
Well, so far I have one. Do you have
Okay.
any like in your database? Do you?
Yeah.
This comes from Adam B. Do you have any evidence of flip flops?
Well, it's harder because when things flip flop, I've had instances. I'm going to go back to the Oscar Mayer because that's like top of mind. But there's a number of them of the ads where they're selling wieners, and when I when I gathered them all, there's a number of wieners and a number of wienermobiles. Every single one of them was spelled Weiner. And there was one in particular where the guy who coined the catchphrase, or who made the song rather, died, and it was in his obituary, and they had like a little ode to, oh, I wish it was an Oscar Mayer wiener. Now, at the time when I had made my post about Oscar Mayer wiener in the Mandela Effect boards and stuff, I verbatim just copied the article. Just I wanted to make sure I had everything right. And what's fascinating is that my physical post to the boards has the WEIN spelling, but the article that I copied from has the WIEN. So it's like, how did I misspell that? And it's not just comes up once, because it's like the basis of the song. So in some ways, I feel that's kind of like a flip-flop in the residuals I got, because I noticed that they had changed, right? Like even like my captions no longer matched the pictures and stuff like that. So, here's a you guys like flip flops, right? One, I experienced the Flintstone. Now I grew up with Flintstone personally, right? And Flintstone to me was in relation to the rock. You light a flint, it makes a fire. They're the Flintstones. Now, for a while, suddenly it became the Flintstones, FLIN, without the T, right? And people, I can remember on message boards, people were like, no, it's never been Flintstones. It's a portmanteau. The T is silent, and it's Flynn is infinitely more sophisticated than Flint. We don't actually have to say Flint. It's implied Flintstone. So now it was like that for a while, and then it switched back to Flint. So in my research, I actually found the Flintstones used to run a syndicated comic, like a comic strip, kind of like you'd get like Garfield or what have you. Now, I found 14 years worth of syndicated comics running, again, like 14 years in different newspapers, mind you, but all of them were Flintstone. Now, I'm going to grab your screen just to show you, because
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
This again, if it was a one-off mistake, people would be like, "Oh, okay, well, that it's easy to make a typo." But this is again $1 billion real estate, like intellectual real estate by Hanna-Barbera, right? That goes on for 14 years. They had infinite time for somebody to write in a letter and say, "Hey, you guys have been getting it wrong." But 14 years. So I've collected about 500 of these comics that go 14 years. I'm just going to show you. Again, so when these flip-flop back to Flint, these comics stayed as Flynn. So to go back to the question, I'm grabbing your screen, and when I see, oh, here we are. Okay, so I'm going to jump into my Flintstone database. So you guys can see that now?
Yep.
Now, if you look up in the left-hand corner, I'll kind of shrink the screen a bit. I get a few of these on. Now, all these are the Flintstones. Flintstones. And like I said, there's 14 years of these. I'll have to verify the dates, but something like 1971 to 70, I don't know.
See, that's
8.
what I remember. Flynn,
So,
just Flynn.
So here, check it out. I'm just going to scroll really quickly, because it's more the sheer volume of them that bowls me away. Because again, there's 500 of these. I know there's more. There's thousands and thousands, but like, they had any time to correct the mistakes. What's interesting, though, is despite having the Flintstones title, the characters, if their name is mentioned within the comic panels, it's Flint, spelled with a T. But I'm just going to scroll through, because, I mean, Flintstones, it's ridiculous, right? And these were running in the same papers from, like, on a weekly basis. So, like, I got
switched quite a bit, huh? Wow.
I got a what do you call it, like a quick eye, and I noticed, like, I mean, it's Flintstones, it's misspelled, and people are so pedantic, right? Like, if you see a spelling mistake, a lot of people, like, letters to editor are just people saying, like, you misspelled Flintstones, right? And God, like, come on, guys, 14 years. So to me, this is again some heavy residual proof, at least statistically. It just boggles the mind that, like, they could have just dropped the ball this heavy when this is interesting too. They had a film called The Man from Flintstone. The Flintstones. Yeah, so this was one that did flip-flop on me.
Back and forth.
But yeah, I could just keep going like almost all day. That's
Yes, somebody had a question, Damien, but Sandy corrected him and said you already answered it. I think you did, like when we were talking earlier
what was
about.
it?
Well, it was just mainly. Was it just a
The
question
Stay
about your
Puft.
your, your the,
Oh,
You covered the Stay Puft. You were talking about
yeah, I
the
like
first
Stay
Mandela
Puft.
Effect that you saw before you
when
knew
you
it was a
first,
Mandela
yeah,
Effect when you were a kid.
Yeah,
and
Stay Puff.
what you thought of that?
Yeah, let me find. Uh,
Yeah, it's pretty much. Here, I'll put the question up.
no worries.
First became aware of what was happening. How did you have you recalled earlier points in your life when you saw changes? And I guess you apparently did when you were younger, huh? Or
Yeah. Excuse me. There's also here's one too. Like, whew, McDonald's, right? Oh man, I
uh,
wish I had a better memory. But honestly, when I see people mock up the sign of the store as McDonald's, that actually looks really good.
yeah,
Uh,
I have a vague memory of it being that for myself. But go on.
um, so and I have found some like ridiculous residuals for McDonald's from people again who should know better and stuff like that. The Stay Puff is interesting because um, I found some residuals from the official like Ghostbusters website. There was like a 35th anniversary where a number of artists shared their like personal iterations, like what like how they feel about the um, franchise. I'm just going to grab the screen because again, these are people who are very passionate about Ghostbusters who should know better and they're contributing things to the 35th anniversary, right? So Stay Puff, Stay Puff. This is the one they contributed. This is actually grabbed from the actual Ghostbusters website. The big marshmallow ghost in the background has the Stay Puff. The one I remember. And it's
And he also, I was gonna say, I've covered a recent Mandela Effect with him. He also has the square bib that I remember. Now it's
oh,
like
interesting.
it's curved and tapered now.
Really, I'll have to take a
It's
look at that. Oh, interesting. And it's funny too because there are still costumes that are for sale, like in circulation, that have the Stay Puff, Puff, right? And you got to wonder, like, how did that happen? Like, I mean, okay, it's a bootleg, sure, but yeah, there's so many of them. It's so funny, like Stay Puff, Puff, right? Like this, the poor guy is making these in like in China or have you. They just haven't. The reality hasn't caught up to them or something. Whoops. There's a lot of ads. Sorry about that. I should have logged in beforehand. Yeah, and
okay.
even people making like cakes, right? Like attention to detail. I mean, sure,
There's that
Stay
curve
Puff
in there.
Girl, Stay Puff. So for me, and being a Ghostbusters fan, like you see the Stay Puff Marshmallow Man at the beginning credits. I was a fan of the cartoon, really, more less so than the movie. And I think you see him at the opening sequence every single time. So it's like there's no excuse. Like Stay Puff, Marshmallow Man. Now I get Stay Puffed, like the T. You can make a case it's past tense, and that makes sense within the context of this universe or this dimension, whatever we slipped into. But again, if you have like the real Ghostbusters are selling Stay Puff Marshmallow Man. It's just not a mistake. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, I definitely
everywhere.
experienced that one outside of like when I was younger. And I'm sure there must have been smaller ones, but again, we do that thing where we rationalize things away. Like it's usually you think, oh, like it's not the universe's fault; it's my fault, right? Because we're humble and But nowadays, you can actually make a case like, wow, it's not me; it's the universe that changed. Like that's wild, and it opens up like
Nathaniel.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were
No,
done. Sorry.
Sandy.
Go on.
No. I'm just. I had a nap and the caffeine is hitting. So.
I had a question for you since you're
Yeah,
such a
please.
big Ghostbusters fan. I don't
Oh
know if you
God.
saw.
Okay.
Did you see my Mandela Effect with Slimer?
With Slimer, no, I didn't. What happened to
All
Slimer?
right. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If you were to describe Slimer his
Oh,
body
no. Okay.
in the back. How would you describe Slimer?
Whew. In the back, like, doesn't he have like? Interesting. Oh my god. I was gonna say he has a tail.
A tail, right? A little.
Oh
He was a
no,
blob with a
no!
tail, right?
Stop! You're scaring me. I know where this is going. Don't tell me he has no tail, right? Are you?
He, Damien.
Is it?
Not Damien. I'm looking at Damien's comment. Nathaniel, he has a butt now, like an actual defined huge butt,
Really? That's
like with
weird.
two cheeks. A butt with two
Interesting.
cheeks.
Cool. I'll have to look at the actual. Like I actually, I'm doing a Google search as you talk because I'm curious, and because the way I remember him is that he would come to something like this little tapered. Excuse me, I probably need water. This little tapered sort of tail, almost like he was materializing. So like I call it a tail, but it's almost like a tapered point. But I'm looking at all these examples, and he doesn't have a tapered point. Wow,
No,
so
actually,
strange.
what I'm going to do is to make life easier on you.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my. I'm going to send you a link to my folder on my presentation on it,
Okay, cool.
and that way
Hook
you
me
can
up.
see the stuff I found.
Because
But
I'm already
that's for
seeing
after
some.
the show.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was just
seeing some
curious 'cause
residuals. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just curious because you were so into Ghostbusters as a kid.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's kind of freaking me out because I'm like just casually looking at the Google search. I'm seeing some depictions of Slimer, the hand drawn ones, like like fan art and stuff, where he comes down to this little taper. The way I remember him, but yeah, he looks weird. Otherwise, because he's just it looks like he's missing his lower body. He's no longer. Yeah, he looks like a floating head with arms. Very strange. Cool, and I can't wait to see his butt. That's gonna be fun. See?
I'm sending it now. I accidentally sent you the link to your own thing,
Oh,
which I put in the chat, but I just sent the link now. So anyway, sorry, I just had to ask because you said you were a big fan.
no, that's great. I like that.
All right.
Ghostbusters.
Did you have any other questions you wanted to ask, Curiouser?
No. How about I'm gonna go to my stuff for a little bit. I'm gonna go through it real fast, and then
Please do, yeah.
we can go on.
And feel free to chime in on stuff like what you remember, Nathaniel.
Oh, fine. So we're gonna do some new Mandela effects, or
yeah, she's showing me stuff.
Yeah, these are stuff I found recently.
Cool. Okay.
I wanted to point out something strange that I've noticed. I was watching some reruns of I Love Lucy because I used to like this show when I was a kid, and I just wanted to watch it for fun, to bring back old memories. And I noticed something that was weird to me. I noticed that Lucy and Ethel's hair has switched in color. I remember Lucy having the lighter hair and Ethel having darker hair. So it's like the hair actually switched. Yeah, see how her hair, and I mean the black and white ones, of course.
Uh-huh.
Her hair is dark. I remember Ethel's, and look at how blonde her hair. I don't remember her with blonde hair. I remember it was darker, and Lucy had the lighter hair.
I don't remember Lucy with red hair. Isn't that weird? I remember her having blonde.
That's what I mean. I just remember the black. This is the black and white ones that. I know. I don't know. She probably dyed her hair red later. But yeah, so they switched to me. She's got her hair's way too blonde. I don't remember her with blonde hair like that. And Lucy's is darker. So
that's so weird.
there's no, that's not how I remember this at all. Their hair. So
can I say something? I saw Ethel as being older, and I thought her hair was more grayish toned. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, older. Yeah, not like a blonde. She wasn't like a, she was at least a brunette. Probably a. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
But now and Lucy's. I can't. Her hair is just dark. It's just dark to me. In these. Okay, so I wanted to share that. Yeah,
Thanks.
That's a good one.
it's like they switched here. Okay, and here we go. I don't know if you all have heard of this, but I just saw this searching around online and noticed that is black wolf, solid black.
Cool.
And this is how I know of wolves, right? This
Oh
is
my
all
gosh, red eyes
this is all I know. What red eyes?
on the black wolf you showed, the first one.
Oh yeah. It could be just the picture how they came out. But yeah, black, just solid black. I've never seen these.
Me either.
So this is new to me.
Oh,
Never
the
heard of them.
babies.
Very beautiful, but they're almost scary looking, aren't they?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And these, yeah, this is what I recognize as wolves. This is what I remember. But these are just solid black. Okay, I wanted to share that. All right, and I'm gonna go over these fast. So let's see, I have some more. Okay, here I'm just gonna. I was gonna look at each one of these up, but I don't think I'm going to. Okay, I don't remember this Con Air being like that. I don't remember these lines going through. And apparently it was always like this. I remember it was all solid for me. So I'll share that.
Now that's interesting. I thought it was a logo change. I remember it solid and with the lines, and I thought it was a logo change.
Well, look at that. It's been always been this way, always since 1959 to present.
Cool. Huh.
Wow.
Passing that one up. Okay, Amtrak California. I've never heard of. Now I used to travel when I was younger. I used to take the train a lot. I would love taking the train because I like the views because there's really pretty views out the window. But anyway, I've never heard of Amtrak California though. When I was there, it was just plain Amtrak. I never heard of
I've
this.
never
And
heard of Amtrak California either.
there are question marks still present, so I don't know if it's a new thing, which I kind of doubt. I don't know. Just never heard of it. It's
What's
strange.
that logo in front of it? What does that
No,
say? It's hard to see. It's blurry.
it's Caltrans.
Caltrains.
Caltrans,
Caltrains.
yeah, California Trans or something. CT, yeah. That's a C and a T, if you can believe it.
Interesting.
It's changed. There's been some other transit companies that have changed. A big one for me being, well, I'm from Montreal, so it's like, I guess, in the Northeast. In New York, the MTA, very famous, we call transit company. And I guess because you see a lot of TV shows are based in New York, so the MTA for me was always the Metropolitan Transit Authority. Metropolitan Transit Authority. Now, it blows my mind because now they've always been the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which to me is like a big mouthful. But the residuals for the Transit Authority variety is again just mind blowing. So if anybody has ever been to New York, guess what? It's changed along with, I guess, things like the it's funny when things change. I can't remember the new one or the old one. What's the
Yeah,
terminal?
Grand Central
sorry.
Thank you.
Station. Grand
Sorry?
Central Station.
Grand Central Station. Thank you. I can't remember the original. Right?
Yeah.
Grand Central Terminal. Like it was a station. That's right. Anyways, sorry. I'll just let you continue. But so
Sometimes your
many
mind is just
cascading things.
to accept the new one, so you're
Mm-hmm.
used to it, and it's hard to remember. But Dove, I don't remember the bird at the bottom. I remember here. See the old ones; it was at the top,
Oh, interesting.
but apparently it dropped to the bottom of the text. I don't remember that. Somewhere in there, 2004, I guess it's saying, but it went to the bottom. It's strange to me. Okay. I don't remember Ajax A's going like that. Of course, there is question marks here, but this is all I have as to the history. It's always had these funny little A's like that. I don't remember. Even the J looks weird, and it's merged here. Okay, this one is a biggie.
Ooh, interesting.
I don't remember Sandy.
I'm looking.
Do you remember a dot under the R?
I do not. I have one like that tonight too, but it's totally a different thing.
Uh, there's a dot
I
under
don't
the R.
remember.
Interesting.
I don't remember a dot like this at all. That dot looks way out of place. And then when it changed to a dot, and I don't remember that dot. I don't remember that dot either. Not looking like that anyway. So
Weird looking.
yeah,
Yeah, my
no.
mom used.
We're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, my mom used to wear the Dr. Scholl's wooden sandals like her entire life. Do I know the logo? Not necessarily, but again, that does look a little weird.
Yeah.
Tucking like the dot into the R, like I don't know. That's
What is that?
interesting. Okay, I couldn't tell you definitively, but yeah, that does look a little weird for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Huggies. Look at how merged this is. There's all
Interesting. Okay.
squashed together. Each one of them too. This is from 66 to 2003. Everything's merged together. We have another one, yeah, and they're still merging into the to present. Okay,
Wow.
just squash. It looks like the present they actually separated them out better, but look at the G's are funny. I think that's
Can you go back?
But
Can you go back to the first one for a second?
yes,
The first image. Does that say Kleenex Huggies?
yes.
What the heck is Kleenex Huggies?
I have no idea. I know. It's a Huggies brand. How did they connect with Kleenex? I don't know.
That is
Maybe
weird.
they are buying the fabric to make the diapers from Kleenex. So, but it's Huggies brand. I know.
Yeah, I think they might be owned by the same like parent company
Yeah. Okay.
that owns
Yeah,
like Cottonelle and some other companies like that.
but do you
I
ever
think
remember
maybe.
seeing Kleenex on the packaging
Oh
or
no,
no?
not at all. No.
That's so weird.
Not in the 70s and stuff. No. No way.
Or the 80s.
Yeah, or the 80s. Okay. Clean and clear. I don't remember this and going like.
Like living in the end. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and apparently the main thing though is the L's. Look at the L's. Look at that. Sandy, you see these
No.
L's? It's
I
one
can tell
L.
you, when I was in grade school, Clean and Clear came out with a shampoo and conditioner that was completely clear, and it was in this like typical 80s weird bottle. So that it was like I think it was pink and like a puce purple color, like this weird purpley fuchsia-y color. And the shampoo and conditioner were 100% clear. And I used to look at that logo all the time, and it didn't look anything like that. I mean, it did, but it was like the clean and clear were more separate, and the and was between, but it wasn't going to the
Look at
end.
the A and the N. I don't remember those being cursive connected like that. Not at all.
No.
I probably used that when I was young, early youth or, you're a teenager. I don't.
I'm going to see if I can find the bottle real quick.
Okay, and here's
Now,
I don't remember. Let's see, what is this? Here. Oh, it's the C that's odd on all these. The C is very strange on all of these. This one in the center is more like it. You see this? This looks more realistic.
I'm sending you the ad. I found it.
But the C on all these are funny to me. I think some of these are merged. No, they're not. Okay, kind of getting there. Okay, and this, I don't remember the T being a plus sign ever. This looks right, but that keeps going to present. Now it's a plus sign again.
No, that's not a plus sign. That's a female symbol.
A T, they change it to a T. Yeah, but it's on its side and it's It looks like a plus. I don't
Oh,
know.
I see. Yeah, it's a female
It doesn't
symbol.
look
Cool.
right. Yeah, it doesn't look
Yeah.
right though. Whatever it is, it doesn't look right. And
It's wrong. Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's funny. It's become like one of those hidden, like, hey, if you look at the FedEx logo, there's actual a hidden female sign and like stuff to tilt your
yeah,
head. Cool. Okay, cool. That's a new Kotex.
like that. Okay, and then
Oh yeah, that's a wild.
yeah, somebody had posted this on Reddit. Let's see who it is. Here's somebody. Which one it is? I don't know if you all remember the spelling of this, but
Yeah, yeah.
it changed. Here, hold on, let me find it. Oh, I thought I put it in here. I was supposed to give credit to whoever it was, but anyway, I don't know that one, but apparently that spelling's changed.
Can I jump in for the hypnotic for a sec?
Sure,
Sorry,
go ahead.
it's just that one like popped up, and that one is weird for me because I do remember the Y, and so it's seeing it missing like a vowel / consonant is just like a head trip. I don't know if I can grab the screen for a sec because there's some pretty like awesome residuals, and again,
Well,
for
that's it
people
for
that
me. I'm gonna be out. You all can share your stuff. I know Sandy's got some stuff, so let's go here. Go
just take
ahead.
2 seconds just to expand on the hypnotic because I've seen it being shared. Hypnotic for me was spelled with the like you spell hypno, like hypnotic with the Y. Now apparently it's always been kind of this even more bastardized spelling with HPNOTIQ. It's weird, but when you get into sort of like the residuals, like there are many ads again where the headline hypnotic spelled with the Y don't match the packaging very clearly now. There's a discrepancy between the two. Lazy graphic designers, and it comes up thousands and thousands of times. And there's also a lot of these adverts from bars and stuff, like advertising they're hypnotic all night, right? So again, if they're giveaways and drink specials, and these people have paid, they usually have you check. This is the Hiptini. Again, it's funny because it's a martini spelled like riffing off the drink because it's a mix, but you would not like the Hiptini has the Y. You mix it with hypnotic has the Y, and it combines equal parts hypnotic with the Y. So hypnotic liquor, hypnotic iced tea, and it's crazy because again the hypnotic they have the registered trademark listed twice spelled with the Y because that's what most people remember it. And again, tons of these places that have like these sponsored hypnotic nights that you'd figure the guy sponsoring would be pissed off because their product is being misspelled everywhere, but there are thousands and thousands of ads for hypnotic with the Y. So you guys are right. Those who remember the Y, it was there until it wasn't. So that's just the nature of the thing. So again, like hypnotic and weird spelling. That would have like really bothered me. So anyways, I'm gonna duck out on that one. That one bothers me.
Thank you. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna share something. I guess Sandy sent this. Sandy.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's all right. Well, Damien said that. Is that something you remember with a line under the doctor? He said it was from 1930.
It's weird, but 31. Wow. I wouldn't know because I guess because that was before my time, but it does still look funny. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks weird. It reminds me a bit like I can't speak for Dr. Scholl's the one the Dr. Pepper that has I think it's missing the period now. To me, that looks weird. It's kind of like a similar change. It's like the way doctor is depicted in these bigger companies or products, what have you. Doctor. Do you guys remember Dr. Pepper with the period, or is that a Mandela effect? I don't know.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
I do remember. It was on the older version.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. I'll have to.
And then it disappeared on the newer ones.
Interesting. I've never dug too deep into that.
So here's the Clean and Clear shampoo and conditioner that I used to use in grade school.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the logo is very prominent on the bottle. I used to stare at it all the time. I did not remember the ampersand inside the N at all.
Hmm. Yeah, I wish I could close on that. But maybe next time. Okay.
I love that stuff. I want them to bring it back. But you want to go to
Okay.
the folders?
Yes, let's do that.
Is Teresa here? Because she's a white dot.
Oh God, Teresa, what the heck happened?
Oh, she's white dot.
Teresa,
Okay.
where's your
There she
where's
is.
your picture? Your picture's gone. Hello.
Can you hear us, Teresa? Because I want to cover your thing.
All right, which one first?
I don't know if it's Teresa's or if it's just she posted it in the group. The driver's license one.
Okay, Teresa, are you there?
She just left.
Maybe she'll come back. I don't know what heck happened to her picture. All right,
So,
here
guys,
we go.
in the chat, and Nathaniel, feel free to. I didn't look into Canada,
Okay.
but I want to ask the people in the United States, without looking, what does your license to drive say? Does it say driver's license, or operator's license?
I remember driver's license, but I don't know what mine says. I'm gonna go check. Hold on.
Okay, well, I know what all the states have. I'm gonna have a graphic with all the states, but I'm curious what people think there says. Because mine is not what I thought mine said. And I thought it was standard. So Ramsey Haver remembers driver's license. You know what? Do me a favor. When you write your answer, write what state you're in. Because we're going to be able to compare in a minute. Adam B says, I think drivers. Ramsey Haver says PA. Well, I knew you were in PA because you know City Line Avenue.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
It doesn't say anything yet.
Okay, I won't.
So Adam B says drivers in California. Rasker and Logic Studio says driver's license, I'm in Iowa. See, everyone's assuming they have driver's license. And I thought it was standard. I thought it was standard for the United States that you had a driver's license.
Yep. Driver's license is how I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But should I tell me when to turn?
You can turn the page. We're going to talk about who has what. I think first thing is Teresa's post.
Teresa, is she even here? There she is.
Okay. Teresa's here. Good.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about Teresa's post. Damien says operator's license. Damien's in Canada.
Teresa, are you there?
So Teresa, is she? No, she dropped out again. All right, Teresa created a poll back in July. This is driving me crazy. Literally the question of the day. And the poll, most people said driver's license.
Right.
Yes, Ramsey, yours would say driver's license. All right, well, if you go to the next image, I went state by state. And it turns out the most common is driver. No S.
That is mine. I just looked at it. I couldn't believe it. It's driver license.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds weird.
PA was driver and switched to drivers last week. So it went from I know when Teresa told me about this in July, I was freaking out because it said driver license. And that was PA. Now I'm from New Jersey, and New Jersey is also driver license and always has been.
I'm here.
All right, next image. I did find proof that it was driver in PA and switched to drivers. I'm going to show you the proof next.
Mine switched.
This is someone at a PennDOT driver license testing center, and it says driver, not drivers.
Wow.
So Pennsylvania was driver, but it switched to drivers.
Wow. Yeah.
Well,
All right,
Interesting.
let's get to the states.
I do
So you can clearly see
couple of them on
driver
mine. They
is
can't have me.
is the most common in the United States, not drivers. I've never heard of driver license before.
Hold on. I don't see it in here. I have to
You're not seeing the
go
images?
back. No, I only have 4 images in that one. Okay. Hold on. I know.
If I have to
Let me
send you the
try to.
images, I'll send you the images.
Let me try to.
Flickr's acting up today, guys.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna send them to you. It'll be quicker
Okay.
because I'm not
Yeah,
even seeing them in
try.
Flickr.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's 4.
All right, so here's the important one. That's really it. That's the only image that's missing. Is the important one with the list of states that I sat and compiled.
Okay.
Interesting. Cool.
Wow.
Go,
So
Sandy.
driver license is by far the most common in the United States. And I've never heard of it. It's always been a driver's license.
Mhm.
And 2 states, Indiana and South Dakota, have operator license. They don't even have driver in it.
Yeah.
So just blew
All
my
right.
mind. I just assumed they were all drivers. But Teresa did a post and it blew my mind. What
Next
really
one.
blew my mind was PA changing on me.
Can anybody
All
hear
right,
me?
next one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Since
Huh?
we're running out, like, how many do you think we're gonna have time to do them all, or you want me to pick and choose?
Hello?
You can go
Yes,
by
we can hear you.
what you
Oh,
feel
okay.
like what
That
you
was the
want.
ghost.
Then we'll take it from there.
All right. Well, Mona Lisa and Hollow Snakes are really quick, so do one of them. They're super
Okay.
quick. They're short. The Hollow Snakes, do that one because I'm telling you, there's holographic snakes now. Fizzy covered one of these on Mandela Monday
Okay.
a long time ago. I never saw it, so I thought I'd show them again in case anyone missed this. They're literally rainbow in the sunlight.
Oh yeah. Cool. They're iridescent. Neat.
No, not
Wow.
no.
Not even,
Iridescent
really?
would be like
Wow, that's
this is
amazing.
like
Oh, I see. Wow.
rainbow, like
Trippy.
It
super
looks fake,
duper
but
rainbow,
I guess.
but it's not. I found them everywhere.
Wow. Look at that.
That I forget. Oh god, the name of it. Let me see.
Yeah,
Let me
that
go
is
to
like a
Fizzy's.
hologram or something. Iridescent.
I have the name of it. I'm getting the name of it. 1 second. I have to scroll up. Me and Fizzy's chat.
It's kind of neat that stripe pattern too. Is kind of interesting. It's just like
Yeah, the
striped.
name of it has to do with the black and white lip. That's why I'm looking. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, it's possible, but on snakes, it's bizarre.
All right, well, not the striped lip one. The other one that we saw is the Morelia bolani python, and it's from the mountains of New Guinea with holographic skin. And then the one with the black and white lip. Where's the name of it?
Wow, that's amazing.
It's the white-lipped python. So that one's the white-lipped python.
Uh-huh.
That's all. Just want everybody to know that rainbow holographic snakes exist.
Yeah.
I don't even know how their skin's able to do this.
Oh no.
But okay, the Mona Lisa had another change, and I do want to talk about the fact that I noticed their hair is now permed. It's like literally like a spiral perm, whereas I remember long, flowing, a little bit of wave to her hair. But what's changed on her now is her hands. Her hands are now almost, her fingers are almost red. They're darker, and there's now like 4 versions of her by different artists, like famous paintings of the Mona Lisa by different artists. And when you see it side by side, all the other ones have normal fingers, and hers are literally like 3 shades darker. It's weird looking. Like it's literally like her fingertips are turned like getting frostbite or something. Her fingertips are red from the knuckles down. I don't know why. It's a little change, but I want to point it out.
Change, yeah.
But if you compare it to the other ones, none of them have that red going on the fingers. And in case anyone couldn't see the spiral because her hair is so dark, if you look on the right, the girl, the painting on the right where they gave her blonde hair, look how curly the hair is.
No, it was always so much straighter and longer than that.
And I don't really know what people remember for the background. I know the background has changed for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of the other backgrounds resonate for you? Because they're all different from the current reality of the Mona Lisa.
Well, the one without that curving river or road or whatever it is, you can't really see it as much here, so it looks more like the old one. I don't know, because I don't remember that curving, spiraling river.
Yeah. I kind of, the third one looks more right to me than the current one.
Mm.
It's not as busy. I don't remember the background being so busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
But I'm not saying that the fingers are a Mandela effect. I just noticed it's changed. Could be dirt. It could be that needs to be cleaned. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, now those are out of the way. Let's get to the better stuff. All right. This one, go to the credit cards. That's another quick one. It has to do with logos. The Mac one. You see it?
Yes. And it's got the rain. Is that a? Yeah, it's the rainbow. Is right.
Mm-hmm. But this image here is the only image I found of Mac where the M and the A is not merged. The M and the A is merged. And then the next image says, well, actually, it might be the image merged and not merged. I don't know what order it's in. Okay, so there you go. I zoomed in, you can see the M and the A is definitely separate. But currently, the M and the A are completely merged.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't remember the A slanting backwards. And I also didn't know that Mac was like a Philly regional thing. Like we call it the Mac machine here.
Yeah, not the ATM machine, or it's redundant, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, so credit cards have also changed. Like vintage credit cards, where the logos are all messed up. Those aren't the ones that are messed up. They're just thrown up there. The ones that are messed up. I know. See if you see any changes.
Well, yeah, I know the what's it called? The Amoco is now or some people remember it as the Amaco Oil Company.
Yes.
And it's funny too because I also found one woman on Twitter. Twitter's a great resource too if you're ever looking for residuals, just to see what people casually were like talking about. So she remembered the Amaco company, and she was casually mentioning it in some tweet. So I had gotten a hold of her, and I just to verify, to confirm, do you remember the Amaco? She said, of course I remember Amaco's, where it was my first job working as a gas attendant, which is amazing because they've never been Amaco, right? They're Amaco now or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, lots of changes.
Yeah.
That's so
All
crazy.
right, so this is a credit card from the 60s, and there's the T and the Y is completely merged. First National City, I think it was called. I just found that odd to find merged letters on a credit card from the 60s. The next one that you were showing, I don't know if you can zoom in on the Bank of Delaware. Oh, I don't know where that went. I thought the Bank of Delaware was next.
Hold on. It skipped over.
Yeah.
This one?
No. It was probably before the TY one then.
It's not there.
Oh, that's weird. All right, well, whatever. That one, it's really small. I couldn't find any other image for this one online.
Oh, that looks very funny.
Yeah, the F is cut off. The F and the I is merged. It's all merged, and that's from the 70s. Even the apostrophe in the S is merged. Bambergers. This one's huge for me. We had Bambergers, and we would go to the one in Cherry Hill. You can go back to that in a minute. The B's look like sixes. The E's are broken and tilted. The A's are broken. The B's are broken. It did not look like this. The whole logo is messed up for me. This is an upside down V. It's got the red slash for the A, and that's a 1979. That was an 89 credit card.
Oh my god, no.
The F is cut off. This is from 1974, I think. Let me see the year. It should be on there.
80s. There's no way.
Yeah, the E's
This
crooked.
is a whole new thing. That's as new to me as upside down V's phrase. These E's that slant like that. They're so
And the F is cut off.
Yeah.
All right, so this one I've shown before, Citibank. Citibank.
No.
The N and the K are one letter. And this is from the 1990s.
No. No, it's not right. It's so wrong. No.
Oh, it's hard to see. I'm sorry. It's just a cut off T in Citizens Bank. That's an old card. 90s. And the T is cut off on the left-hand side.
Okay, yeah.
I don't have that Bank of Delaware one. That's weird. Oh, it's a better image of it. Banamex. The letters are all cut up, but those A's are crazy. The E and the X is merged. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't look right, the E and Z. All of it. But yeah, I'll go back to the beginning. I didn't see it.
It's okay. I don't know what happened to it. It's fine.
There. All right.
It's okay. All right. Let's get to the ones I covered on Mandela Monday. Go to the Pat folder. Oh, Jesus Christ. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Curiouser?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, what's going on?
My AirPod disconnected. Sometimes it doesn't reconnect again. Do you see the cat folder?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at first, the chat was 50-50, but after they saw the residue, some people's minds were changed.
Ooh.
So, love is a battlefield singer, guys. How do you spell her name? B-E-N-E or B-E-N-A? You can just put E's or A's in the chat. You don't have to write her whole name out.
I'm going with the NA.
You're going with
Yeah,
A?
Right, yeah.
yeah, I remember the NA Natar.
Wizardry says A. Anyone else? No one else answering. Well, for me, it was an A. And the residue is kind of overwhelming. It's kind of like when I found Mickey Dolenz, all that residue. It's kind of like that.
Cool. Yeah, I was seeing a lot of Pat Benatar with the Enetar spelling, like a lot. So I only know it with the AR. So, but
Sure.
yeah,
I don't remember what Teresa remembers. I don't know if she can chime in or not. She's here, but I don't know if I can hear her.
Teresa?
Oh, you don't. I would move quickly. There's a lot of residue in here.
Guys? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Is Teresa talking? So
You hear me?
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't
Yes.
hear her
She's
at all.
talking.
I said I have a dual memory. Dual. Somebody tell Sandy dual memory.
And she just said she has a dual memory.
Cool.
She said A at first, and then when she saw the
Tell her
residue, she said, "I think you're right."
Tell her, tell her
That's what she told
she
me,
convinced me.
This is the Hilton. The Hilton
Tell
had
her.
a concert. They spelled it with an A.
Sandy found too much residue. She went overboard.
There's a lot of these memes. That's why I just threw them all in. You can just, like I said, there's a lot. This is on a CD, a karaoke CD, Pat Benatar. A lot of radio stations don't know how to spell her name. It's a painting and a band. All right, so here's an album with her name on it. Another karaoke CD. Chord music with her name on it. And the bottom one is from a jukebox with her name spelled with an A. A cassette tape with her name on it with an A. An ad in the newspaper. Oh, going fast. A flyer.
Cool. Yeah.
Ramsey Avery says, "Oh, Pat Benatar with an A." Damien found all these for me. Thank you, Damien. The newspaper articles.
Wow,
It's
there's
not
a lot.
quiet. There is a lot.
The tribute band, yeah. We're a terrible tribute band, apparently. We suck.
Yeah, that's why I said to just go through fast. There's a lot. There's so much. I had 82 proofs, and then I stopped looking because there was just too much. But every image came up.
All right.
And then Teresa sent me a good chunk too. All right. You want to just go on? I can prove the point.
Yeah. Next one.
All right. So here's another one that if there's a Thor fans here, they're probably gonna be like, no, that's not it. Probably gonna get pushed back on this one, but Fizzy, Dan, they both agree with me. I'm gonna do this next week, I think on Mandela Monday. But go to Chris and Liam folder. Because their last name changed for me. Okay, guys. What's their last name? What do you guys remember? Well, Teresa, what do you remember? And then they can tell me. I can't hear you.
Teresa. Teresa. Hello. Teresa,
Correct.
are you there?
Oh.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, what do you remember with this
Helmsworth.
graphic?
Helmsworth.
Okay.
Helmsworth.
Uh-huh. Helmsworth.
You tell.
Would
So
that
does
be
that
Helmsworth?
Hem. H-E-M is what I know. Or
And what
as I
about
know
you,
it.
Curiouser?
Helm.
I don't
Helms.
know. Hansworth? H-A-N-S?
Okay, so Wizardry
No,
remembers
with an
Helm.
L.
Adam B remembers Helm. Aurora 1, the fourth side of 3 is 1, remembers Hen/M. Ramsey is with Adam, so Helm. But Ramsey's not sure. All right, for me, it was Helmsworth. But it is Hemsworth. Teresa Helm. I don't know. So it is currently Hemsworth, but I do remember Helmsworth.
Me too,
And see, what's
Sandy.
weird is, if you don't resonate with that at all, if you 100% remember Hemsworth, you got to say to yourself, why do so many people specifically remember Helmsworth instead of like Hemworth or Hemworths or something like that? They remember Helmsworth.
Hemsworths.
Yeah.
There could be so many different iterations. You're right. It's like, why does everybody? Because truthfully, I'm from the Hemsworth, but I'm just poking at the Helmsworth right now, and there's like hundreds, right? So why is everybody putting an L where it doesn't belong necessarily?
Right. And it's not like Helmsworth is a common name either. It's
Exactly.
Not. And some of these websites, like they specialize like in Marvel and stuff like that. They should know. Oh, this is funny. There was a parody LinkedIn account, Chris Helmsworth. and it says that his occupation is Thor. Thor at Avengers. Like the Daily Pop, you'd think they get it right. All they do is cover media. And again, there's a lot of residue for this. But this is one of those ones, like I said, why would people remember Helm?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do them all. There's a time. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night looking at residue. Okay. Let's do the residue and logo changes, and then we'll do my brand new Mandela Effect that I found an hour before the show.
Ooh.
Okay. So I was talking about variation last week, and I talked about it on my channel, how it's like things that, for example, I was trying to explain to Noble how Mickey Mouse, if he's dressed as Mickey Mouse, like with the red shorts, it's always red shorts. It's never yellow, blue, purple, or green shorts. Then the very next day, I find the shorts in all different colors, including the yellow, green in a cartoon. It was bizarre. Oh, here we go. Now here's Toucan Sam with a red and white beak, purple arms. It's ridiculous looking. I've never seen Toucan Sam like this. I've seen him in this design, but not the colors. The colors are crazy. And I don't remember a cherry. I remember the lemon and the orange for the fruit. I remember them doing that. I don't remember the cherry hanging from the arm. That's weird. I can't see.
I remember, can I just say, I remember Kellogg's with no S.
See, yeah, some people do.
No, not S. I'm sorry. No apostrophe. I don't remember the apostrophe. It was just Kellogg's without an apostrophe S.
Oh, yeah.
Kellogg's.
I kind of remember that too.
But that was a long time ago. So I did a review.
All right, so Pioneer. I don't remember the P's and the E's being broken and the E and the R is merged. It doesn't look right.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember. I remember the think outside the bun ad, but I don't remember the E's being threes that are backwards.
Oh, wow, that looks weird. No. Well, never seen that before.
Alpine, I don't remember it being an upside down V. And I corrected it on the right.
Yeah.
It's strange. There's a lot of those missing the
Oh yeah, there are everywhere.
Yeah. That
They're
blows my
everywhere
mind. Yeah, I know, and it's strange because as a graphic designer, you're always looking for like a little hook you can do in somebody's logo, right? And you think dropping the cross hair in the A, like I've never seen that, and it's everywhere now. Anyway, sorry.
Oh,
No,
Please
it's okay.
continue.
so true.
This is residue of the yellow and red sleeves that I
Oh yeah.
remember on Snow White.
Ooh.
Yeah, I saw on Flickr a lot of Snow White residue, so I saved it. Some people remember her with white and red sleeve, and there's the white. Okay, bows. I don't remember it looking like the bottom, but that's how it's always looked. I remember it looking like the top.
Yeah, that's a weird one for me too. I noticed that like I have a background in like sound. I used to do a lot of electronic music, and I've had that. Like I've never seen the logo, but you can look in old vintage ads too, and the Bose has that funny extension in the B and the E, like it going back in time. So to me, that just looks weird.
Yep,
I've never
I
seen it that
agree.
way.
My stepdad, a lever, the L is too short and the E's are crooked. I don't remember it looking like that. But going back to the bows, my stepdad had the that little radio. You know what I'm talking about? The clock radio that was
Hmm.
always advertised on TV. I saw the logo all the time. It never had those lines on it for me. So this is an album from I forget was this the 80s swing out system,
Yeah.
but I've never seen this before. Look at the W in the end. They're merging over the I.
Right. Everything's all. Yeah, that's bizarre. Okay.
So Teresa found this on the nanny. We don't want to play it because you'll get a copyright, but she's talking about she's dressed like the pilgrims. And she's got the buckle on her belt and she has the buckle on her shoes. The next image is of her shoe. And if you guys remember, I covered that the pilgrims never had buckles.
Like,
Oh
wow.
yeah.
Yeah. There were no buckles on their hats, belts,
Buckles.
or shoes.
Wow.
There's your shoe with the buckle. This is the movie Coffee, and the FFYs merged.
Ooh.
And I put a little black box there, keep it family friendly. Aristocats, I don't remember the circles and the A's like that.
No.
Now that's a poster. I didn't get a chance because I just found this one. I didn't get a chance to look at the VHS because we used to have the VHS. But if that was the poster, most likely that's what was on the VHS cassette tape. Big is not merged, but all of Hit is. So weird.
Sandy, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just gonna have to tap out for the night, but I just wanted to thank you guys for having me over and letting me, blab for like an hour and a bit
Oh yeah. No,
or
it was
more.
really interesting. I'm glad you blabbed. That was very good.
Thank you so much,
No
and
I'm glad.
yeah, and thanks. So anybody who's out there, check out the residuals, and happy hunting, and thanks again, Sandy, for inviting me. And have a good night, guys.
Good
Oh, no
night.
problem. Good
All
night.
right.
Great
Cheers.
having you.
Everyone. All right. Micro.
Now, Damien and Brian covered this one before, but that's the Microsoft logo for back then, and I do not remember that one at all. Okay, look at this saint under Marie, next to Marie. See the dot? That's the one I was talking about.
Oh yeah, there I see it. Yeah, wow. Weird. Whatever. Okay. I know. Oh wow. I probably got
Yeah.
these when I was something like that. Oh, God.
All right, so there's no version of the logo, according to Logopedia, that has the A's merged like that,
Hmm.
except for this ad that I found.
Oh wow. Okay. So maybe it was just the ad that got
Mm-hmm.
uh altered. I don't know. It's hard to say if it was It's
I
almost like it
think
wasn't deliberate. It just changed.
I think I included the Logopedia image so you could see what the logo should look like. It might be the next image. Or might not because it's Flickr. It's not. So this is residue of Bender having white eyes and teeth and not yellow like they are now. Um, this is just a random question for the chat. Do you guys remember holographic patches being a thing? Like a holographic sticker built into a patch?
No.
I've I've never heard of this. I've never seen it before. I'm not saying it's a Mandela. I'm just saying that's weird. I've
Mhm.
never seen it. Ferrari, I don't remember the line on top of the eye or the eye
Mhm.
being shaped like that. It looks weird.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I remember holographic stickers, but not patches that you sew on your clothes. Yeah, never saw on a patch, Damien says. All right, brand new Mandela Effect. Found this tonight. Please go to the Sears folder. I forget who said it. It was either Dan, Fizzy, or Teresa. J.C. Penney's is affected. Of course, Sears would be eventually, right? In the chat, what is the full name of Sears, store Sears? We don't say it anymore. But what was the name of Sears? Just Sears Roebuck? Nothing else?
Mhm.
Wizardry says Sears Roebuck.
Yep.
Damien Sears Roebuck. That's strange. Don't change it yet. I want to see if anyone says it. I'm getting a lot of unbiased and on the fence vibes right now. See, it's important that I get specifically because. Oh, Damien says ampersand. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I remember. I remember Sears and Roebuck. We would get the Sears and Roebuck catalog when I was a kid. And that's not what it is anymore. It's not Sears and Roebuck. Are you good? Next image. All right, so Noble found these images for me, and in the newspaper you can see Sears and Roebuck store. That's what I remember. But now it's always been Sears, comma, Roebuck and Company. I've never heard it like that ever in my life. Sears, Roebuck and Company. It's been like that since 1893. Damien, I've never heard it like that in my life. It's just Sears and Roebuck. Now there's no and between Sears and Roebuck. There's a comma. Oh, there's all different ways of them writing it. This is one plaque of one building. So here's the current reality of Sears, Roebuck and Company. Who's the and company? It was Sears and Roebuck. This is like strong for me. Oh no, I've never heard it this way in my life. Never seen it this way. We used to get the catalogs when I was a kid.
No, never. This is new to me too. Sears, Roebuck and Company. Wow.
Look at that ad. It's got the crooked E and a cut off F in the top right. Top right. The ad from the 50s or 40s. To the right, from your easy chair. Cut off F, crooked E. All the way back then. All right, so this says right here, Sears and Roebuck was a popular dealer of catalog merchandise. And then below it says, the company now is known through the United States and Canada as Sears. The Sears, Roebuck and Company is the official name. So why are you saying Sears and Roebuck over and over again? This image has a V for the U.
Wow. Oh, that's
Teresa
weird.
found that. Yeah. I mean, there's V's for the U all through it, too. Like in consulting, there's a V. This is how it is now. No, 1886 is when the company was formed, but their name was like R.W. Watch Company. In 1893, they changed to Sears, Roebuck and Company. So here's how I remember it: Sears and Roebuck. Just Sears and Roebuck. The cats are named Sears and Roebuck. Nice. This is more newspapers from Noble. See, I remember the ampersand. Sears and Roebuck. And the Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman says, "Yes, sir, I'm a regular Sears and Roebuck. Not Sears, Roebuck and Company."
Right.
Yeah, they write Sears and Roebuck Company, even though on the painting book it says Sears, Roebuck and Company. Is that a duplicate? So again, at the top it says Sears and Roebuck, and then on the actual thing it says Sears, Roebuck and Company. There's a ton of residue for this, and I don't expect anything less because this is super strong for me. That's a duplicate. Remember the Greg Zyla? Yeah, that third duplicates. You're done. Sometimes Flickr uploads things twice for some reason to the same folder. But yeah, I am shocked that you guys remember Sears, Roebuck and Company because that is a strong one for me. It was never that. Oh my God. That is crazy. But that's it for tonight, guys.
On that one, because I remember either Sears and Roebuck or just Sears Roebuck, but never and Companies. No.
That's weird. I don't know. That's just weird.
All right, everyone. I guess we're going to call it a night.
Yeah.
It's been a great show.
Yeah, it has. I've been going 2.5 hours already.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We're gonna say goodnight and hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining. So good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.